हेलो एवरीबॉडी, माय नेम इज सचिता एंड यू ऑल आर वाचिंग द फार्माकोपीडिया। तो अगर अब तक आपने चैनल को सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया देन गो अहेड एंड सब्सक्राइब टू माय चैनल फार्माकोपीडिया। सो इन द प्रीवियस lecture I have talked about the process of glycolysis and I just hope that each and every point is clear to you. And yes, so in today's video I'll be discussing about the citric acid cycle. But before that, if you have not watched the video on glycolysis, link is in the description. Please go and watch that, because without understanding the process of glycolysis, it will be quite difficult for you to understand the citric acid cycle. Okay, talking about the citric acid cycle, so it is also one of the most important metabolic pathway, because about 65 to 70% of the ATP in the body is synthesized through this citric acid cycle. Okay, talking about the first point, so this cycle is also known as the Krebs cycle, because this Adolf Hensch Krebs in the year 1937 proposed the Krebs cycle. Therefore, this cycle is also known as the Krebs cycle, and his studies was based on the consumption of the oxygen in the pigeon's breast muscle. This cycle is also known as the tricarboxylic acid cycle, or the TCA cycle, because it involves three of the citric acids, that is this cis-aconitate, citrate and the isocitrate. Therefore, it is also known as the tricarboxylic acid cycle. The third point is that, as you know, that the process of glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm, but the enzymes for the tricarboxylic acid cycle is present within the mitochondrial matrix. So this process takes place within the mitochondria. So TCA cycle takes place in the mitochondria matrix. Okay, talking about the fourth point is that this process is amphibolic in nature. What do I mean by the term amphibolic? Amphibolic means that this process involves both the catabolism and the anabolism. Catabolism, which means the breaking down of the certain things, and it also plays the anabolist role or the anabolic role. Okay, so why catabolism? We'll be understanding this term because the carbohydrates, proteins, fats needs to get converted into the acetyl coenzyme A, or it gets converted into the acetyl coenzyme A and participate in the TCA cycle. Therefore, it plays the catabolic role. Talking about the anabolic role. Anabolic role because the certain intermediates such as the succinyl coenzyme A is involved in the synthesis of the porphyrins and the heme. Okay, therefore it plays the anabolic role or building up of certain things. And one more thing about the anabolic role is that oxaloacetate, I'll be writing it over here, oxaloacetate and alpha ketoglutarate through the process of transamination, oxaloacetate forms the aspartate and alpha ketoglutarate forms the glutamate. And both of these further produce or synthesize the non-essential amino acids, purines or the pyrimidines, and therefore we can say that citric acid cycle or the TCA cycle is amphibolic in nature. Talking about the fifth point. So the fifth point is that this TCA cycle is strictly aerobic in nature, unlike that of the glycolysis. Why? Because during the TCA cycle, NADH or FADH2 is generated, okay, but this is a cyclic process. So NAD or FAD from which the NADH and FADH2 is generated needs to get regenerated. What do I mean? It means that NAD from which NADH is produced and FAD from which FADH2 is generated. Okay, so in order to continue this cycle, this FAD and NAD plus needs to get regenerated from this NADH and FADH2 further in the cycle. But this process takes place only in the presence of the oxygen, and without the presence of the oxygen or in the absence of the oxygen, the NAD plus and FAD is not formed or does not get regenerated, and therefore the cycle stops. So this cycle strictly involves the presence of the oxygen in order to continue the TCA cycle. Okay, so now we are done with the basics of the TCA cycle. Now we'll be looking at the steps of reaction involved in the TCA cycle. But before that, you all know that during the process of the glycolysis, pyruvate is formed, but 2 molecules of 3 carbon containing pyruvate is formed in the cytoplasm. But you know that the TCA cycle takes place in the mitochondrial matrix. So this pyruvate needs to get transported in the mitochondrial matrix through this import fashion. Okay, so once it gets transported in the mitochondria, then it in the presence of the enzyme PDH or pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, forms the acetyl coenzyme A. And it is a 2 carbon containing compound. Okay, so during this process, the carbon dioxide is released, NADH is generated, and coenzyme A is utilized. Okay, so this reaction is known as the link reaction. Why? Because this reaction is a sort of a link between the process of the glycolysis and the TCA cycle. Okay, so again I am explaining you this pyruvate or the 2 molecules of 3 carbon containing pyruvate in the presence of the enzyme pyruvate dehydrogenase complex, which is present only in the mitochondria, gets converted into the acetyl coenzyme A in the with the utilization of the coenzyme A and release of carbon dioxide and synthesis of NADH. Okay, so this acetyl coenzyme A now is involved in the TCA cycle. So first of all, what happens? The first step is the formation of the citrate. So during this process, oxaloacetate condensed with the acetyl coenzyme A to form the citrate. Okay, so during this process, the coenzyme A is released. Okay, so this oxaloacetate is a 4 carbon containing compound and this acetyl coenzyme is a 2 carbon containing compound. So this citrate is a 6 carbon containing compound, and this reaction is catalyzed by the enzyme citrate synthase. The second and the third step involved the isomerization of the citrate to isocitrate, and it is a 2-step reaction. First of all, what happens is citrate in the presence of the enzyme aconitase forms cis-aconitate, and cis-aconitate then again in the presence of the enzyme aconitase forms isocitrate. But during this process, the dehydration and followed by the hydration by the synthesis of the cis-aconitate forms the isocitrate. Okay, so at the third step, the isocitrate forms the oxalosuccinate catalyzed by the enzyme isocitrate dehydrogenase. So during this process, the NADH is generated. NADH means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide. Okay, so here one molecule of NADH is generated. Then again oxalosuccinate, again in the presence of the enzyme ICD or isocitrate dehydrogenase, forms the alpha ketoglutarate. But this during this step carbon dioxide is released. Okay, so this then alpha ketoglutarate is a 5 carbon containing compound. Then this this alpha ketoglutarate forms the succinyl coenzyme A in the presence of the enzyme alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. Then during this step, what happens is NADH is regenerated, coenzyme A is utilized, and carbon dioxide is released. Okay, so one more thing that I forget to tell you is that this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex involves 5 cofactors. What are these 5 cofactors? 5 cofactors involve the first one is the TPP, that is thiamine pyrophosphate. The second one is the lipomide. The third one is the NAD, that is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, flavin adenine dinucleotide, FAD, and the fifth one is the coenzyme A. So this pyruvate dehydrogenase complex involves the 5 cofactors, same as this the alpha ketoglutarate dehydrogenase. This enzyme also involves this 5 cofactors. Okay, so the next step involves the conversion of succinyl coenzyme A to succinate in the presence of the enzyme succinate thiokinase. So during this step, GTP is formed. So this GDP then gets phosphorylated to GTP. Okay, and the coenzyme A is released. Okay, also one more thing, that this step is a substrate level phosphorylation, because at this step GTP is synthesized. Also one more thing that I want to tell you is that GTP in the presence of the enzyme nucleoside diphosphate kinase gets converted into the ATP. Okay, so the whole reaction is something like this: GTP plus ADP then forms ATP plus GDP. Okay, also one more thing is that because the carbon dioxide is released over here, so alpha ketoglutarate is a 5 carbon containing compound, and this succinyl coenzyme A is a 4 carbon containing compound. Okay, so at the next step what happens is the formation of fumarate takes place. So fumarate forms from the succinate in the presence of the enzyme succinate dehydrogenase. At this step, FAD gets reduced to FADH2, and instead of forming the NADH. So at this step FADH2 is formed, that is flavin adenine dinucleotide is formed. Okay, at the next step fumarate then gets converted to malate in the presence of the enzyme fumarase with the addition of the water or H2O. Okay, so the last step what happens is malate then again in the presence of the enzyme malate dehydrogenase forms the oxaloacetate, and this is how oxaloacetate gets again regenerated in the cycle and gets again involved to continue this cycle. And during this step again NADH is formed, or NAD plus gets reduced to NADH. Okay, so this was all about the TCA cycle, and I hope that each and every step is clear to you. So before talking about the energetics of the TCA cycle, we'll be summarizing the TCA cycle first. So during the TCA cycle, acetyl coenzyme A, 3-NAD, FAD, GDP, inorganic phosphate and 2 molecules of H2O is utilized in order to produce the 2 carbon dioxide, or 2 molecules of carbon dioxide is released and 3-NADH is produced, 1 FADH2 is produced and 1 GTP is produced and 3 H plus ions is released plus coenzyme A is also released. So this is the summary of the TCA cycle. Talking about the energetics, from this it is clear that 3-NADH is synthesized, but you know that this cycle runs twice because 2 molecules of pyruvate forms 2 acetyl coenzyme A, therefore this cycle runs twice. So you will be multiplying it with 2 and 1 FADH2 is produced. Again you will be multiplying it by 2 and 1 GTP, or you can say ATP, is produced. Again you will be multiplying it by 2. So when you look at the energetics, then 1 NADH is equal to 2.5, so total of 7.5 NADH is produced. 2 into 1.5 and 2. Okay, so here what you get is 15 plus 3 plus 2. So total of 20 ATP is generated or formed during the TCA cycle. This is very important from competitive point of view. Okay, so when I will be explaining you the complete oxidation of glucose, you will understand that how many ATP is formed. So yes. Okay, so now we'll be looking at the complete oxidation of glucose, or how many ATPs are produced from the complete oxidation of glucose. So we are done with the process of glycolysis and the TCA cycle. So first of all, you know that glucose, which contains 6 carbon, through the process of glycolysis forms pyruvate, and during this step 2 ATP and 2 NADH are produced. Then this pyruvate forms acetyl coenzyme A during the link reaction in the presence of the enzyme PDH, or pyruvate dehydrogenase complex. At this step NADH is produced. Okay, so you know that 2 molecules of 3 carbon containing pyruvate is formed. So here NADH will be multiplied by 2. Again 2 acetyl coenzyme is formed. Okay, then this acetyl coenzyme enters the TCA cycle. Okay, so during the TCA cycle, you know that 3 NADH, 1 FADH2 and 1 GTP or ATP is formed. But this cycle runs twice, so it will be multiplied by 2 as I have told you earlier. Therefore, total of 20 ATP is produced during the TCA cycle. Okay, at this step, how 2.5? Because this NADH then enters the electron transport chain, and through the process of oxidative phosphorylation it yields 2.5 ATP, or 1 NADH is equals to 2.5 ATP. So it is equals to 5 ATP. Okay, now looking at this step, so this NADH is impermeable to the inner mitochondrial membrane. So to get transported into the mitochondrial matrix, it selects either of the two pathways. First is the malate aspartate shuttle. I'm just giving you the overview. And the second one is the glycerol phosphate shuttle. So when this NADH delivers its electron through the malate aspartate shuttle, then the NADH gets regenerated in the mitochondria. So overall 2.5 ATP is generated. Okay, but when it delivers its electron through the glycerol phosphate shuttle, then 1.5 ATP is generated. Why? Because FADH2 gets regenerated in the mitochondrial matrix instead of the NADH. Okay, so when this NADH gets passed through the glycerol phosphate shuttle, then total of 2 into 1.5, that is 3 ATP is produced. And when it delivers its electron through the malate aspartate shuttle, then total of 5 ATPs are produced. Okay, so when we will be adding all of these ATPs, then what we get is, here it's 5 ATP. When we consider malate aspartate shuttle, then we get 5 ATP. 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 5 is 12, and 12 plus 20 is 32 ATP. And when we consider glycerol phosphate shuttle, then we get 30 ATP. Okay, so through the complete oxidation of glucose, we get 32 ATP. Okay, so at last we'll be looking at the inhibitors of certain enzymes of the TCA cycle. So here are the enzymes. These are its inhibitors. So the first one on the list is the aconitase enzyme. So it gets inhibited by fluoroacetate. But this fluoroacetate itself is harmless for the cell, but due to cellular metabolism, it gets converted into fluorocitrate, and this fluorocitrate proves out to be toxic for the cell, as this fluorocitrate inhibits this enzyme aconitase, and therefore this fluoroacetate is known as suicide substrate. Okay, so the second, we are having the alpha keto glutarate dehydrogenase enzyme. So this enzyme gets inhibited by the arsenite. You all might be familiar with this arsenite because I have discussed about arsenite previous in my lecture on the glycolysis. But both of these reactions are non-competitive one. At the third step, we are having the succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. So this enzyme gets inhibited by the malonate, but malonate is the competitive inhibitor of the succinate dehydrogenase enzyme. Do not get confused between the malonate and the malate. Malate is the intermediate of the TCA cycle, but malonate is the inhibitor of the succinate dehydrogenase. Okay, so this was all about the TCA cycle, and I just hope that each and every point is clear to you. I'm just giving you a quick review. So at first we have discussed about the basics of the TCA cycle, and then we have seen the steps of reactions involved in the TCA cycle. Then we have seen the summary of the TCA cycle, energetics of the TCA cycle. Then we have seen the complete oxidation of the glucose, and at last we have seen the inhibitors of certain enzymes. So I just hope that each and every aspect is clear to you, and in case of any doubt, do let me know in the comment section below. So till then, keep studying, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel Pharmacopedia. And yes, do not forget to write down your reviews in the comment section below. Okay, thank you.